Look at that guy. Working hard to make us some popcorn. Greetings and welcome back to Magic Monday, the series where I take you with me around the Disneyland Resort to sample and review every last eatery. And today we are taking it back to the beginning. Now that we've made our way up the eastern side of Main Street, it's time to take it back to the beginning and explore all of the options on the western side. With that in mind, our stop today is the Main Street USA Popcorn Cart, which, depending on which archway you enter the park from, may or may not be the first eatery you encounter on your journey through Disneyland. The fastest way to get there is to simply enter the park through the western archway and take a look just slightly to your right, your 1 o'clock if you will, and there it'll be. So, let's go take a look, shall we? Okay, so as you can see behind me, right there, is the Main Street USA popcorn stand. I have tried to get footage of them for like 8 weeks and they're never open, but I finally got my popcorn and my soda, and it tastes pretty good. Salty, buttery, tastes like popcorn, tastes like Pop Secret because that's who makes it. And, yeah, that's all I've got for now. Not a lot of footage, because it was pretty quick interaction. I'll check in with you guys later. Alright, we visited the park, we got our popcorn, but now it's time to decide, how does it measure up? This is one where I'm going to have to be really harsh, and I feel bad about it, but I didn't start this channel to give everything a 5-star rating, so here we go. The service, I was pretty disappointed in, for a couple of reasons. The first of which being that I have been trying to do a review of this place for probably 6 to 8 weeks now. Every time I've gone to the park, this cart has been closed. In fact, I planned for it to be my first stop in the park, but I had to change my plans and do the churro stand instead because it was closed. I meant to go back the next week and do it then instead of going all the way up the eastern side. My goal had been to kind of ping-pong ball back and forth across the street, working my way upwards, but every successive time I had gone back to the park, the cart was closed. And when I talked to the churro stand people, they said that the popcorn cart was only open on weekends when the park was at its busiest, but I mostly go on weekends, and every time I've been there it was closed. And it was only by a stroke of dumb luck that this past weekend when we went, I happened to check up on the place at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was open and there was a line. So I went over there with my camera in tow, even though it was very nearly dead, which is why I don't have very much footage, and went up there. But unfortunately, when I got there, even though the park was really busy, they were just about to have their afternoon parade on Main Street, which was coming through. That entire area of the street was very, very crowded, very, very busy. There were a lot of people in line for popcorn. That was when they had decided to do an employee shift change. And I don't know who was responsible for scheduling that. I'd assume it's not the working employees, but somebody clearly wasn't thinking, because this was not a good time for it. It was way too busy. You could tell that the 2 employees that were there were stressed. The one girl just wanted to get out. She was done. She'd had it. She was not in a good mood. The guy that was coming in was nice, but he was a bit frazzled, and it was all just very chaotic. And they were not as friendly as Disney employees usually are. Having been a food service employee in the past in my life, I understand. I'm not one of those people that's gonna give food service workers a hard time ever about anything, even if they are rude or even if they do screw things up. I know what a thankless and horrible job it is to work in food service. That being said, Disneyland does demand a high standard of service, and I don't blame the employees. It just seems that this cart is very poorly managed, from having really bad timing on their shift changes, causing their employees to get surly, to hardly ever being open in the first place. I previously mentioned it was really, really hard to even get a filming day there. So this popcorn cart has just kind of been the bane of my existence for a little bit, and so I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 2 stars. I don't feel angry enough about the service that I experienced. Nothing was wrong with my food. The employees were all, I completely understood why they were as frazzled feeling as they were. It was not something that I just was horrified by my treatment, so I'm not going to give it a 1 star. I'll give it a 2 stars. But just all things considered, my experience even getting to this cart and then the interaction when I was there has just been a headache to me. So, not one I would recommend. 2 stars out of 5 for the service. As to the atmosphere, it's Main Street USA and Disneyland, so that's fun. It's that oldie timesy American feel, all American feel. Very cute. The popcorn cart itself is cute, but nothing special. Really kind of average food cart Disneyland location. Very, 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 very average. Nothing remarkable about it. So I'll give it... I'm inclined to give it a 2 stars just because I'm frustrated with my experience there, but that's not fair to the decor. Average, I'm calling it average, so I'm going to give it a 3 stars on the atmosphere. Again, the only time that I seemed to be there that it was open, it was very, very busy and very, very crowded, which I don't like. I don't like crowds. And I wish that there were still downtimes in Disneyland, but they just don't seem to exist anymore. But that's not the popcorn cart's fault, so I'm not gonna detract from it for that. Price points. I really don't remember, actually, now that I think about it. I honestly can't remember if they take the annual pass holder discounts or not. I feel like they don't, but I really don't remember, so sorry about that one. That's on my faulty memory for not keeping track of that. But I do recall that the price on the popcorn was not remarkable. It wasn't a super great deal. It wasn't something that I looked at the price tag and went, ugh, that's outrageous, why am I spending this kind of money? So I'm gonna give that a 3 stars as well. Finally, the food itself. It's popcorn. It's not special popcorn, it's not specialty popcorn, it's Pop Secret. You know, it's the Disneyland popcorn stand hosted by Pop Secret. So, again, it's really hard to give a good rating on something like that when it's the kind of thing you can find in a grocery store. It just kind of comes in a slightly fancier container here. I'm gonna give this a 2 as well, because I'm not a fan of just corn that has been popped with some salt and butter thrown on it. I like to dress up popcorn. I like to make it interesting. There are a lot of different ways you can sort of decorate it to add different flavor palettes, and this was very basic, which I know a lot of people like, but it was basic, and it also wasn't a specific sort of Disneyland exclusive version of the basics. There's nothing to stand out about it. I'm gonna go ahead and say 2 stars out of 5. Wasn't working out for me. This place was not in the cards. It wasn't written in the stars for me to go there and have a good time. So overall, that brings us to, I think, a 2.5 out of 5-star rating for the popcorn stand at the beginning of Main Street USA. There are a lot of other places to get popcorn in the parks. If you like popcorn, I'm gonna go ahead and say I don't really recommend this one. I think there are others that you will find that are more reliably scheduled, and they're gonna have shorter lines, and there's gonna be not as much hassle getting to them and getting your food. And I happen to know that there are popcorn stands that do serve specialty popcorn. There's the Cozy Cone Motel in California Adventure, which we will be getting to eventually when we are over there, that does crazy flavored popcorn. And that's, if I'm going to get popcorn at Disneyland, that's where I'm going to go. I'm not going to go back to this kind of stand. Anyway, that's it for this week's episode. I know it was not quite as colorful or as fun as some of the other ones we've done, but you know, not every place is going to be a hit, and that's the reason we do this, so that you guys get to know, for those of you who don't go to the parks regularly or who are planning a vacation, you have some idea of what places you shouldn't miss and what places you can skip, and this is one I would say you can probably skip. Be sure to check back in tomorrow for Blaze's Tokyo Tuesday update. I'm really excited for it, and if you have strong feelings about Disneyland popcorn, if you've had good experiences at this particular stand or bad experiences, let me know in the comments below. Also tell me where your favorite place to get popcorn is. Of course, in the Disneyland parks, I suspect for most of you it's probably the Cozy Cone Motel, because they're the ones that have the awesome flavors. I know it's my favorite place, but let me know. And like this video, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and if you want to hear more from myself, or from Blaze, or from Magic Meals in general, you can find all of our links to social media down below in the description box. And I will see you guys next week for some more Monday Magic!